Dishonesty is an extremely ugly trait. Just recently I went to check out a rental suite, and the lady had long, not very long, but very long, like silver blondish hair, and her face seemed sweet and nice. And if you pay attention enough to simple things that go on around us in our lives, you can really see the answers even before the end result. And on the way there to her place, I I had my car made a loud clunk, right, noise, and I was thinking, what was that? So I got out. I kind of thought, "Ooh, has something happened?" So I kept going, right. It's kind of like you kind of get a sense, kerplunk, boink. This wasn't going to work out. Anyway, I went there and I met her and everything else. In in the process of the negotiation at the end, like we're sitting there talking, you do the old chit chat and everything else, right? She wanted to rent me the place. I mean, I've always tried my best, and I do live my life in complete honesty, right? Honesty is, as they say, is the best policy. Besides, you know what? To have a clean conscience keeps you clean, man. Like you can't even describe, you can't put words to the sense of wholesomeness that you have a sense of well-being. It's well, and this honesty is really does a lot of damage to the makes a person very ugly. You know. Anyway, we were finishing up the yeah, the talkity talk about me renting from her, and she had the ad listed for 900 a month, right? So as we're talking, she says, "Oh, I should have mentioned this. It somehow the ad got messed up, and it was actually 950, not 900. So she said somehow Facebook made a mess. She goes, "Are you okay with that?" Now the thing is, when you're in the art of negotiation, the emotion of the environment, the moment, can cause you to not stand back and pay attention to what's going on, right? You're in it, you're in the atmosphere with the person, right? So the exchange can kind of like throw you off. They've even said with dealing with a narcissist, when they do something called the narcissist fog or the gaslighting, they get you to get swayed away from reality, right? So then she went on and she said, "Oh, now I was really kind of like hoping to rent the place today." And I kind of went, "Oh, well, we had a discussion. I was going to rent from the first of the next month, right?" And that was all agreed upon. She said, "Well, I'm really hoping that you can rent today." So, I said, "Well, where I moved in, I paid my rent, and I can't just really go and ask them to give me half my money back." So she said, "Well, see what you can do." So when we're outside, we still kept talking, and I kept because you're like, once again, you're an emotion of the moment. I I agreed. I basically said, "Okay, you know what? I really like the place. So I went from 900 to 950. That's one thing she got me, manipulated me, right? The second thing, all I'm thinking, all these thoughts are going through my head. How am I going to get my half a month's rent back and move in to this lady's place? Because, I don't want to lose it, right? In what she was doing was so snaky, slimy, and coily. Then when I went back home and I really started to, and by the way, I'm just going to backtrack a little bit. When I was leaving her place, this guy came out of nowhere and was driving behind me really close, out of nowhere. And he was basically trying to intimidate me. So then when I make the turn, I kind of pull off side and let him go, right? I've learned in my life, don't play games with people, especially got evil spirits in them, right? Anyway, as I'm driving down the street, some guy is driving along the opposite direction. He looks out the window and he looks like he want to pick a fight with me. And I'm like, going, what? What stuff is weird? So then, in a few uh, areas up, I started encountering some other stuff with people behind the wheel, behind me, driving up really close, and just like, and I was like, I was doing the speed limit, and I was going a little faster too, right? But I was like really put off. I kind of thought, okay, this is really odd. I go, it's like it's a little bit too obvious. I started joining the dots. All this stuff started happening when I was going to her place and leaving her place. The thing is, we don't see the true nature of what goes on with people, especially the stuff that's going on inside of them, especially if they have evil spirits in their life. We don't see this stuff, right? And but they do in the invisible world. A lot of things will happen, and they sometimes they will come out that person and attack you because you were there, especially if you're showing traits that they be trying to get that person to leave. A character they've got that person to compromise their character or whatever, right? I got back home and I started thinking about it. I said, well, I think it's unfair to basically just just try to get my money back and move in. Like I go, in the heat of the moment, I kind of just agreed, and I said, come let I go, I'm just really confused about what happened. And I said, really, like it just was, that was not what we had planned. I was not, you didn't let me know. And by the way, I drove close to 48 minutes to your place, you know. So then hum and hum, and she said, well, we shook on it. And I thought, I go, okay, well, just give me some time. Okay. I said, so she wanted a deposit. So I started thinking about things. So I went back and I looked at her marketplace profile with her listing for her this room she is renting. She rents it on a monthly basis, right? So every uh, marketplace ad she had for this room, as people came and went in her place, was always listed at 900. So when I saw it, I knew right away she's lying. She was lying. She was not marketplace and making a mistake. No, she was just trying to get $50 out of me because I was too friendly. And that's another thing, sometimes when you're interacting with people in business, it's best not to get too friendly. Friendly enough and not too friendly, because you don't know what's going on behind a nice face, especially a woman, an older woman. They can be, they really can be so, um, they've learned the art so well, and they get away with it so well because in society and its norms, we give a lot leadway to an older person, right? And sometimes older people have learned quite well how to play people very well. Okay. Some have learned to grow gracefully. Others have learned not to. I have to meet a person who didn't learn how to grow gracefully. One thing went to another, and I was going to send her a deposit, and she said she wanted an e-transfer. Then the next thing you know, she wants to meet me in a couple of days instead, and that she would rather have it in cash. So, okay, fine, great. I'm gonna drive back there, give her the deposit. Da da da. I think it was all settled. She goes, okay, we'll do the 900, and we'll, you don't have to do the half a month because now I understand what you're saying. Blah blah blah. So I'm thinking, okay. So it's just a misunderstanding, right? Then she gets hold of me the last minute. She said some lady she knows is in a bad position, and she's renting out the place to that lady now. So she wished me all the best in my search. I'm kind of like, what do you do? I just kind of shook my head and went, you smile, right? I mean, what do you do? You just kind of, I mean, sighing and frowning is all probably what she wanted anyway. The exhibition, she exhibits in her life is her fruit. And I was not going to give her or the demons or the wickedness the satisfaction to think it got me. I took it as a lesson, and it's still a lesson I still need to learn. At 63 years old, I'm still learning my lessons because you never know who you're dealing with. The topic of what I was talking about is dishonesty. Dishonesty makes you ugly. Does she think she got away with dishonesty? Yeah, because she has all through her life. And you know what makes dishonesty more powerful in society and its norms? Is that other people have also learned to be dishonest. And people get along just fine with each other, navigating around each other in each other's domain by the chit chat and the dishonesty here and there, here and there. It's like a dessert to them as they had tea and cookies and they had their chit chat. It's normal for people, right? You don't learn that way. To those of you listening, being dishonest catches up to you. Even if people think it doesn't, it doesn't, it will. Do I do on my side on the receiving end? I was put out. I had to get by gas travel. The interaction of between 2 and 3 days of going back and forth with this person, when she already intentioned that she was not going to pull the wool over my eyes, she already realized that if she had me in her house, and I'm just saying this on a spiritual level, that I was going to compromise what she knew to do so well. And you know what I think? I think that when you are very honest without realizing it, a couple things happen. You become an extremely powerful lie detector because you're so transparent and you will bring them to the surface. And this is something they don't want in their life. Secondly, any interaction you have with somebody in any given situation, when you are an honest, upright, and a good natured person, you guaranteed to trouble their demons. And you don't want to do that because what you're bringing into their life, when I say you don't want to do that, they don't want you to do that because we're realizing it. Those evils, the evils that are in their environment can lose their home, number one, okay? And also at the same time, how can I put it? They can cause the environment, the person, by allowing you in the midst, they can cause the environment to become compromised with the light. When you bring the light wherever you go, darkness cannot be there. And Jesus said this. He says, men love darkness rather than they did the light. And he said, light came into the world. Darkness had overcome it, but it did not understand it also. And that's the thing about bringing your light and your high level of goodness into any environment. You will change the atmosphere and you will intentionally and unintentionally, you will be on a shot of a doubt. You will make it extremely uncomfortable for people who've learned to get on just fine by being dishonest. So remember that. Keep that in mind that, you know what, you are an asset by God on this earth. And if it sets you back, it doesn't matter. Because you know what matters is that you could have ended up making it tough on yourself. And you don't want to do that. In this world, Jesus says, in this world, you will have a tribulation. But you know what? You don't go looking for it. And if as much as possible, have discernment. Be wise as a serpent's harmless as a dove. Be so aware. Be so aware in every transaction you're going to have in this life that if you're dealing with something that is of the dark side, you don't want to have. And that's where you learn, and you learn so well at so many points. You just turn around, get in your car, and just walk away. And that is the art I want to develop in my life. Not even waste any time. No time, because they don't deserve it. I believe people step over at some point, as the Bible even says, that God gives them over to become a reprobate. They're damned, and there's no hope for them. And you don't want to be in that environment. It really is a tough experience. Trust me. And I've been there. You be around people who have a lot of darkness, man, I'll tell you, you'll have some of the most craziest dreams. You'll have crazy things happen to you that would not happen any other way. Have a good day. Do like and subscribe. Thank you so much.